Happy Sunday, Tampa Bay. We're with you for another week to talk about the local real estate market. Got a slew of experts in the house today with David Graham from Graham Capital, Arnie and David Diaz with Waterstone Mortgage, and Scott Eckley with D.R. Horton. Excited to cover a lot of real estate topics today, and wanted to lead out of the gate today with David Graham, who has the Guaranteeing Your Retirement show right before ours. We talked about this last week on the show, Arnie and David, that we're still seeing a lot of cash transactions when people, I think, could qualify for financing and could see, better returns with their money. And I wanted you to kind of prompt the question you had last week for David.
Well, the question I had for David really was, prior to the Great Recession, the market had 10% cash in it. And ever since the Great Recession, and I thought it was just going to happen for a little while, but it doesn't seem to go away, is now it's, on average 50%, depending on what market is.
Yeah, a lot of cash transactions.
50% of transactions are cash, and I mean they're pulling it out. They got to be pulling it out of the 401ks, I hear, or their stock accounts or whatever. And so when you have somebody come to you and ask you, "Hey, I'm going to go buy real estate. I'm going to pull money out of my account," what's your advice? What would you say?
Well, it all depends. That old proverbial, it depends. But if it's qualified money, IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, defined benefit plan, profit sharing plans, Roth IRA, did I miss any? Number one, you go to a third-party administrator and you buy a property with it.
Yeah.
Every day of the week, that's one of the options that we give to our clients. Look, you don't have to always go into stocks and bonds. Yes, you could actually go to a third-party administrator and put your qualified money. I just had a retired car dealer buy classical cars. It's an investment. It's a tangible. Real estate is a no-brainer.
Right.
No-brainer. Some of my most affluent clients have simply started accumulating properties by doing just that, and it's your qualified money.
Yep.
Then you can start doing 1031 exchanges.
You keep deferring taxes.
I have a client that's my age that started off with one duplex, and he just recently purchased a Sheridan from 95 with 300 rooms, doing 1031s exchanges for them.
And just keep climbing up. It's interesting, and that's a good topic for us to have a qualified intermediary on, because there are some steps, there's some protocol, there's some things you can't do, how you can't commingle personal money with the asset that you own. There's a lot of different steps you can follow.
We can do a show together on that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great topic. What about interest rates? So obviously that's another topic I think that kind of ties into that same question. Obviously the market's been down a bit. Which I think is another incentive for people to come to someone like you, David, that can do things to guarantee a better return and focus on better returns. But the interesting thing about interest rates for mortgages is we'll have people come in that have the ability to buy cash, but in reality, they may not be making the right decision by using the cash when they can do better in some sort of other type of investment.
When you have 4% interest rates, they're as low as they're ever going to get probably in my lifetime. When you look at the cycle of real estate, it's a very long cycle.
Yeah.
And for the rest of my life, real estate is only going up.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I find interesting, and it's, I think, a great topic for investors listening. When you have this, we seem to see a surge in real estate investment when there is a lot of volatility in stock market, because you don't have the volatility in real estate. Real estate isn't going to drop 10% a day. It's a much more consistent trend. So when you have these dips in the market, people that are losing in the market then turn around and say, okay, well, now's the time to buy some rental properties or investment properties. But what would you say to someone that comes out there, that's someone that's got money, they've got a great job, they've got some net worth, and they say, you know what, I'm just going to buy the house cash instead of getting a mortgage, even though they're sacrificing.
First thing I'm going to tell them is, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Take advantage. If you're going to get a 7-8% return, there are investments out there that are long-term average that are guaranteed to give you a 7-8% return.
Right. So why would you not?
Why would you want to do? If you get a 4% mortgage, for crying out loud, have your money work for you.
Right.
Please, by all means. So somebody like Donald Trump.
Right.
OPM, 90% of everything he has is mortgaged.
Right.
It's called the leverage. Use debt for crying out loud.
And I think that's the key. And I think, again, there are certainly times when, if you've got a first-time home buyer or someone who's not established themselves as a disciplined financial person, that's maybe a different conversation, in terms of the leverage piece. But if you're somebody who has money, why would you not accept $8, for $4? I mean, really, that's the exchange. That's
It's traditional thinking. It goes back to our grandparents. They owned the farm, they sold the farm, moved into a house, bought it cash. Yeah. Whatever extra money they made, they put into CDs, and they lived off the interest. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
Those days are gone forever in the last 15 years, because number one, banks aren't team players. They're not giving you a fair market return on your monies. That's why we use insurance companies and other things. But use that, again, it's just only common sense. If you
Yeah.
can go and get a mortgage for 4%, and you could still invest long-term to get 7 or 8%, excuse me, that's 100% more?
Yeah.
Come
Well,
on.
So why do you think that, I mean, it's an old-fashioned thing still, but prior to the Great Recession, only like 10% of the market used cash, but now it's 50%. So why do you think it's not going back to where it was pre-recession?
Primarily because of the times that we're in now, people are afraid. I just came back
Yeah,
from
people
a
are afraid, no
conference in
question.
Atlanta, and all they talked about is the volatility index just went up 15 points just in the past couple of days. And it's, the wave has crested. The wave has crested now with the markets. We're slowly gonna be going down this year. Every lame duck president, when Bill Clinton was in office, he had a great 7-year run. His last year started to rock a little bit.
Right.
George Bush, we almost went into a depression. It's not gonna be any different from Obama.
Right.
It's historical.
And the other thing that I think is telling
Interesting.
about the, the interest rate scenario or the cash, you're always gonna have people that are just comfortable, and it's not as if, people shouldn't buy with cash. There's still scenarios and there's still people, it's a risk tolerance or a comfort level from that person. But I think, one of the, telling things or the interesting things about the dialogue between someone who's saying, cash, versus mortgaging the property, it depends on the threshold. But in a market like today where it is really competitive, financed offers might lose out to cash offers. So that's a choice I think people make too, is they feel like if they use cash, they can get a better deal. We talked about that last week.
Right.
But in reality, they can do both. They can buy cash and then refinance. So they can win in the negotiation and then get their cash out in a refinance.
Exactly, they can do that, absolutely.
And I think that's something people forget about. But cash has always been king. It's always won in the negotiation. It's quicker, it's easier. But if someone goes all the way through to approval, and instead of just a pre-qual, and you've confirmed employment and gone through everything, that's pretty close
Now
to
you're
cash.
competing with the cash,
Yeah.
right?
Now, if you're a baby boomer and you're spending your money, your cash, your hard-earned life savings to buy a house outright just to give you peace of mind, I want to know what you're smoking, because you don't need to be doing that. You're
Yeah.
literally giving away 4% a year.
Right.
You don't need to be doing that. Use some common sense, leverage a little bit. It's still going to be guaranteed,
Sure.
and you still have your money and have some liquidity besides. But take advantage of this. The rates are as low as they're ever going to get.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing right now. You have the pressure from the Fed where they're going to start to trickle up a little bit, and I think that'll knock some people off the fence too. I think that'll start to, oh wow, they might trickle up a little bit. Now's the time for me to pull the trigger and stop, sitting on the fence.
Now, I try to work in a fiduciary capacity, and sometimes I'm very direct with people, but come
Yeah.
on.
Ditto.
This is common sense. This
Yeah.
isn't rocket science.
Right.
Okay, for peace
8
of
minus
mind, you're
4
gonna hurt
equals
yourself.
4. It's like you learned that in first grade, man. It's really probably younger than that today, But and David, you'd mentioned before, who's a realtor you're going to work with when you go buy a house?
Well, okay.
I put you on the spot, right? You see that? Right on the spot. Man, just went right to it.
Okay,
Let's get on air.
Listen to this.
This is it. I'm recording.
Yeah.
Okay, listen to this, sports fans. Andrew is the real deal. And quite frankly, my accountant's about ready to give me permission to actually buy a place, and I'm looking forward to that. And this is the man you need to come to if you simply want to get the best deal that's out there. And he will do it quicker than you can imagine. So just don't come here thinking it's going to take a couple of months. You better get your moving stuff ready, because he's going to do it for you quickly.
Awesome.
And the crew and the team that he has around him are the best in the Tampa Bay area, best in the state. And that's why you have guys like Jack Harris, and same thing with me.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy's the real deal. You can't get any better by
Thank you
using the
very much.
Duncan duo.
Appreciate that. That's fantastic. So.